Hey everyone. All right, so today we're gonna talk about how to tie your belt. It's one of the first things we learn when we go into a new dojo. So whether you're doing karate, judo, jujitsu, you're gonna wanna know how to tie your belt correctly. And the other thing too is that there's nothing worse than showing up on your first day of class and you don't know kind of how to bow in, how to fix your uniform, how to look good. Okay, so this is one step that if you practice it a few times before you hop on the mat, you're gonna have a great experience, and plus you'll feel more familiar in the place that you're starting. So we're gonna talk about 2 ways that we can get the belt fastened around our hips just to start. So we aren't even talking about tying it off. One way is, right, you'd put it on your belly and then you'd wrap it around. And then the other way, you actually end up circling your hips a few times. The advantage of one, the first one, we'll call that the simple wrap. So that one is, you just find the middle of the belt, put it to your belly, easy, it's pretty quick. The other one is maybe a little bit more about aesthetics. So you end up not having a double crease along your belt line. So you'll see what I mean when I end up doing the demos here. And then after we fasten it around our hips, then we'll actually talk about 2 different ways to tie it. We'll talk about a standard tie, which is the most basic way that we can learn how to tie our belts. It's just kind of easy. But then the other one is, we call it the flat knot. But with the flat knot, you end up having it very secure, so it can stay tied a whole class most times. So let's jump right into it, okay? All right, so here we are. We're just gonna go through the 2 ways that we can secure it around our waist, even without having to tie it right at the end, okay? So we talked about the standard way, which is where we just find the middle and we put it on our hip line. And then the second way, which is basically a double loop, we just loop it around our hips. And one way is a little quicker. The second way, it has no crossover in the back. So I'll show you what that means. So first, for the standard way, you find the middle of your belt. From here, okay, we're gonna cross it over. So right lapel goes over the left hip, left lapel goes over my right. Find that middle and I put it just below my belly button so it's at like my hip line where you can feel your hip bones, okay? Now I'm gonna pass it around in the back. I'm gonna trade tails, okay? And now from here, I can secure it. So pull it nice and tight sideways, and now I've got my 2 tails, okay? But you'll see on this one, there's actually a little crossover in the back here. And if you're into aesthetics, you know, it might not be your most favorite way of tying it. So the second way is, we're just gonna take one end of the tail, and we're gonna put it at our hip, okay? And we want it to be over at our left side, okay? And now I'm just gonna pass it around. I'm gonna trade hands, okay? I'm gonna go around a second time, and now here I am, okay? From here, all I have to do is just kind of knock that tail out from the bottom, and then I can adjust it so that we're right in the center with 2 tails that are equal, okay? You might have to shove it to the left a little bit, you might have to shove it to the right. So, those are the 2 ways that we can just get it to our hip. Now, let's talk about the 2 ways that we can tie it. First way is gonna be the standard knot, okay? And then the second way is gonna be the flat knot. Again, standard is just what we always learn at the beginning. It's a little simpler, but the second way, the flat knot, definitely stays tied a little tighter and it looks pretty sharp. So let's talk about the 2 ways that we can tie them. So for the standard knot, here I am. Let's say I put it on a quick way, cool. Now my right tail is gonna go cross over the left side, and now my left tail is gonna go over the top, okay? And we're making an X here. That's the cue that we give all the people, okay? Now my top tail, the one that's coming over the top, that's gonna come underneath both layers of my belt, okay? So in some other martial arts, what they'll do is they'll just make an X right here, but it gets a little sloppy, right? It separates. So what we wanna do is, right, top tail is going underneath both layers, and now I pull it nice and tight. So we're almost there, okay? We just need to do the last step, which is make our second X. So our second X here, Again, its top tail is over the top. And we make our second X. And now that top tail just comes underneath, goes through this hole that we've made. And when we finish it off, we always want to pull the tails sideways, okay? So again, standard tie is the quicker, and then now we'll talk about the flat knot. Cool. So here I am, right? I've crossed it over. My right skirt goes to my left hip, left skirt goes to my right hip. Find the center, okay? Trade tails, here we are, and I'm at the point where I've got my equal-sided tails. Now, I'm gonna make that same X, so my left tail is gonna go over my right. I'm gonna make sure I go underneath both, right? It's the same thing. Pull it nice and tight. And now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring my top tail over, and I'm gonna go in between the two layers, and I'm just gonna try and keep it really nice and flat and slide it. And I wanna keep a little bit of a gap in here, okay? Because now my bottom tail is gonna come over the top, right? And I'm gonna put it through this hoop, and then I'm also gonna secure it in between the two layers of belt. Now, once we shove them in, we can scoot it in real gradually. Nice, okay? Fix up your belt. So you'll see, right? It's kind of a little bit flatter here, okay? Looks pretty nice, ooh and ah. So, I hope you guys liked the demonstrations of how to tie your belt. Keep in mind that there's gonna be a million ways to learn how to tie it, and if you watch any other YouTube videos, you'll see that, okay? Every martial arts has its own way of doing it too, so if it's your first day and you're coming to the grappler station for Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, don't worry about it. You don't have to be a master on day one. It'll only take a few more times for you to really get it down. If you like this demonstration, leave some comments below and let me know what you thought, but thanks for joining us. See you soon.